briefly tell us what it was that first got you into wines and ultimately winemaking?
It was my wife. She's originally from Walla Walla, and
Okay.
I grew up here in Seattle.
Right
But no, the main thing that really got me into wine was really just kind of the connection with Mother Nature. And I just had this extreme reverence for Mother Nature and the forces that have created our world, and I see that in a glass of wine. So that's really kind of the spiritual aspect that got me interested in it. Actually, before that, I wanted to start a brewery here in Seattle. And when my wife politely asked me if I'd like to move to Walla Walla, I kind of got a little exposed much more to the world of wine, and because a lot of my wife's family's good friends anyway, who started some of the original wineries from Walla Walla. So I just kind of evolved from making beer to making wine. Easy transition. The thing about beer, you know, I just didn't see that the Mother Nature connection with beer so much that I get to that kind of feeling from wine, because I used to spend a lot of time in the mountains and doing a lot of climbing and skiing, and so but I see all that in a glass of wine and the berries that you know, the fruit berries. So
It's awesome. And then, what is your approach to terroir? Do you believe it's relevant in wine, or how much do you influence?
Yeah,
and then, how much influence do you think the winemaker has over that?
Well, I believe, yes, I do believe in terroir. How much the soils actually impart flavor to the grape, and etc. I do believe there is something to it, but a lot of it is the winemaker too. But you see, I think that's an important part of it, is that the winemaker culture is, in the New World, when we talk about terroir, culture, which is perhaps one of the most important things about terroir, is left out of the conversation. Culture being how we're brought up, how the wine-growing regions, the people in it, are brought up into how we look at growing grapes and how we, in our approach to making wine itself. So the local influences, I think, has a lot to do with my approach to making wine anyway. And that most of the time is left out of the equation, speaking of terroir, which is perhaps one of the most important parts. So, and like Walla Walla, we had the infrastructure and the people that started the winemaking industry in our Valley of Pioneers. I mean, they brought such a high bar to the valley, and that guys like me, you know, I try to reach that. And so the culture really is, the wine culture is cultivated. So,
What was the best wine you've ever had that you can remember?
boy, you know, in recent memory anyway, 1982 Lynch Bosch. Just absolutely dynamite. I mean, still drinking young right now. It took me about 30 minutes just to get the cork out of it. It was like dirt. But I tell you, it was worth mining that cork out of there, because
If you could sum up your winery's approach to winemaking and your specific approach to winemaking as a winemaker in maybe a few sentences, what would that be?
Just to show off the Walla Walla Valley. I try to, you know, listen to the grapes and try to let the fruit speak for itself. I'm not trying to make a consistent flavored wine, if you will, a flavor profile from year to year, but I'm trying to extract what Walla Walla Valley fruit has to offer and show off its elegance. There's really a touch of old world classic viticulture to Walla Walla fruit. And I think when you do wines with 100% Walla Walla Valley fruit, it shows, and the elegance of that, and that's really what I'm trying to express in my wine.
So what'd you do for 04 then when they had the freeze?
Well, that's easy. We didn't make any. There is no 04 Reininger. So I actually had one barrel of Carmenera I thought was worthy of putting the Reininger name on it. So, but we have another label too that we call Helix, and that's Columbia Valley. And so we did about 9,000 cases of Helix wine that year. But there is no Reininger. We actually sold it off, that wine off, that we only got about 7.5 tons of Walla Walla fruit that year in 2004, and so we sold most of it off bulk, but I also did some private label stuff for some people too.
Gotcha.
Great question. Well, the primary difference is the wine growing regions. So having the two wines allows me to work with two great wine growing regions, the Walla Walla Valley for Reininger and the Columbia Valley for Helix. And the main differences between them, Columbia Valley tends to be a little more purity of fruit. I think it's a little easier wine to grasp, where Walla Walla tends to be a little more complex, a little more earthiness to it. And like I say, we have a little bit more of an old world style to it in a way, a little touch of old world. Well, you don't see that so much. You don't see that in our Helix wines. So.
Cool. Anything we should know about coming up in 08, 09?
Gosh, yeah, we're doing a few fun little things out of the winery. We're doing more and more Malbec and Carbonara. I always love doing our Chima, which is a Sangiovese Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot usually blend. I call it our Super Wallen. It's inspired by the great Super Tuscans. We have another wine from Columbia Valley off of the Walluk slope from Stone Tree Vineyard that we call Soro, and we don't make a lot of it, but it's using Grenache, Mourvedre, and Cinsault. Always fun to play with. And you know, they're different grapes than what I'm usually used to working with, so you know, anything where I'm learning a lot from the fruit, it's always just so much fun. It's my favorite wines to work with. So
yeah, sounds like you're a real student of the wine. Like, you like to listen to the grapes and you like to see what they're saying that year and what should be done with them.
Well,
right?
Absolutely. You know, learning's the fun part about making wine. You know, and we only have an opportunity once a year unless we hop on a plane and head to the southern hemisphere, you know, to make wine. So our opportunities are limited, so we have to learn as much as we possibly can. You know, you snooze, you lose. You can't snooze through the vintage. But it's always fun learning.
If you weren't the winemaker for your winery, what would you have as a daily drinker?
82 lynch bars.
Okay, so let's say cost is an object here.
I love some of the Waterbrook wines that have come out over the years, and they've always done a fantastic job. I think, especially with their whites. You know, Eric Rindall, who started Waterbrook Winery, has just been so magnanimous, and you know, he's very inspirational to me. And I used to help out at his winery for years, going over to Walla. When I lived here, I used to go to Walla Walla and visit my wife's family. And I had to help out at Eric's place.
There you go.
So Eric's from the same town I'm from.
Right on. Well, thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing great things coming out of you guys.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Chuck.
Appreciate it.
All right.